Why are you actually reading academic articles? Is it just to find some information, or is it perhaps to analyze, interpret, and evaluate what you've read? Critical reading is exactly this. It is a deeper and more complex engagement with a text. It is about asking questions. We can divide our questions into 3 sections: description, analysis, and, the most important one, evaluation. But first, even before you start reading your text, you need to think about why you want to read it. Think. What information do you want from the text? Is it to support your argument? Is it to find a research gap? Or perhaps to find different perspectives on your topic, or solutions to a problem? Remember to always have a clear purpose before you start reading. To help you understand this even better, we will use a fictional example. Let's say we want to write an essay on solutions to dangerous temperature rise in our city. So, we want to find some information about the reasons of rising temperature in cities and its effects on people's life. Also, we want to know the possible solutions to this problem, so we can evaluate them and see if they can be applicable in our context. Okay, so let's start with the first section. 1. Description. You need to understand the context of what you are reading. So, we've found an article entitled, "Tackling the Heatwave Challenge in Rivertown, a Comprehensive Analysis." Now we need to find some information about the context. We may want to find the answers to the following questions. When and where does it take place? Who is affected? What's the main problem? Having this information will give you a better idea if the text is relevant to your topic. In our case, it is. So let's move on to the next part. 2. Analysis. Once the context is established, it is time to analyze the situation. Here, it is about asking how and why. You may want to find out why the presented argument, theory, or solution to the problem is important. Why did this situation occur? How are different aspects of the topic connected? Here are some notes from our reading, describing several factors contributing to the rising temperature in Rivertown. So, now we know what happens and why. It is time to move on to the most significant part. 3. Evaluation. This point is about possible implications, solutions, and recommendations. Here you need to think about the following. What's next? So what? What if? For example, you may want to consider the possible impact of the proposed solutions, their drawbacks and benefits, or what could be the potential consequences of inaction. Here are some notes based on our article. You can make yours in a similar way. We extracted the suggested solutions from the article and added our opinion on potential challenges with these solutions and found some measures that were implemented to tackle these problems. You may also find some gaps and limitations in the author's arguments or suggestions, elements that are missing or would need to be adjusted in your context. Still, our work is not over yet. It is time to find another source and repeat the process. We would like to see if similar solutions were implemented somewhere else and how the potential problems have been overcome there, to get a different perspective. Once you've got some notes from various sources, compare the findings from the texts you were reading with other authors and their perspectives. Later, you will use that in your writing when synthesizing information from various sources. Here you need to be careful to distinguish between facts and opinions. Also, be aware of the writer's backgrounds, assumptions, and purposes that could affect the way their texts have been written. You need to be aware of your own opinions as well, your judgment, positive and negative, so you can make an objective evaluation. You need to decide to what extent you are prepared to accept the author's arguments, opinions, and conclusions. Remember, that the aim of critical reading is not primarily to find faults or problems, but to assess the strength of the evidence and the argument. When reading, you may conclude that a study, or an article, presents very strong evidence and a well-reasoned argument. However, it is also useful to identify areas of the research studies or articles that are weak. Later, when you start writing, this may help you to convince your reader that this area of research needs more focus. This way, you can show the reasons why your dissertation, or a research paper, deals with a certain topic or a problem. So, a practical starting point is to consider everything you read not as fact, but as the stance or position of the writer. Once you've got your notes from your readings, it is time to start writing. Watch this video next to learn how to transfer your findings from reading into your essay, dissertation, or a research paper.